Hello, this is Nathan Hunt with the Industrial Solutions Network here in Nebraska, and this is how to implement Load Observer. So whether it's a new axis or an old one, we're going to go through that process. So first things first, we want to make sure we have our axis in the motion group and we have our associated drive in the Ethernet tree. Granted, this could be a Sercos module in the Kinetic 6000 if you have a new enough firmware. So let's jump into it. So you want to go to the properties, so you can right click and go to properties, or I typically like to just double click. And then we're first going to go into the Auto Tune tab, and we're going to select Custom. And then the next step is to deselect the torque low pass filter. And again, we're not going to perform an actual auto tune test. This just helps with the summation process that Load Observer goes through. So we go ahead and hit apply after not performing a bump test. Then one thing it's worth checking, especially if this is an older system, if you've done an auto tune test before, this will be more than 0. And even if it is more than 0 and you don't think you've ever performed an auto tune, go ahead and 0 this out. That's very, very important for correctly implementing Load Observer. So make sure that's 0 within the Load tab. Then under the Load tab, we're going to go to the Observer tab. Makes sense according to the video. So then we're going to select Load Observer with Velocity Estimate. We're going to go ahead and hit apply. And yes. And then we're going to go to, so now Load Observer is implemented. That's the important one. So that's the Load Observer with Velocity Estimate. Load Observer only isn't quite as good. I'd always pretty much select with Velocity Estimate. Next, we're going to go to the Compliance tab. Under the Load tab, we're going to enable the Tracking Notch filter. Again, if you have some tricky tuning situations, sometimes I would recommend adding gain stabilization, but for the most part, 95% of the time, I'm just going to enable the Tracking Notch. Go ahead and hit apply. And so those are the two key components we want to focus on. We're pretty much done at this point, but something I also like to add in is within our watched parameters, I also like to watch both the frequency and the magnitude of that notch filter. So these two right here, so the torque notch filter frequency estimate and the torque notch filter magnitude estimate are the two that I like to enable. And from there, you go ahead and hit OK. We've done pretty much everything we need to do. And that way we can watch those within trends. We can watch those within our tags to see if those change too much. And that way we have a little bit of preventative maintenance built in. If you want to see some more helpful tips and tricks, you can check out the Rockwell publication motion-QS001C, as in motion-Quebec Sierra 001 Charlie. Again, it might be beyond Charlie if they update it again, so it might be Delta or Echo or something. But that would be the place to go. Thank you.